So there you go. Yeah, kind of looks the same in preview mode, but trust me, there's way more resolution there now. It kind of gets blurrier by the end because the viewport volume preview is just saying like, hey, I only want to show like 100 voxels maybe from left to right. And so when you have less to show, it looks more high res, but by the end, it's spreading that out over the whole thing. So in case you're wondering why it's so blurry, it's going to be way higher res when we actually sim it. But anyway, it's there. It worked. It's cool. We can middle click and hold on this, like let's say on like the last frame, and say, oh wow, look at that. It's 131 million voxels now. 750 by 500 by 300. So we're kind of in the sweet spot that we want. I'm always in my head. I'm always trying to get to like 100 to 150 million voxels. You can certainly go higher. I mean, my computer simmed this. I mean, sure. Again, it got to 1.2 gigs by the end, but it went from 1218 to 1227. I mean, it's incredible. 9 minutes to get to this incredible amount of voxelage. So yeah, if you went down to 0.02 voxel size, you could have, it might take 8 times as long, but 8 times as long as, 9 minutes. That's fine, an hour, right? Who cares? But then you'll have 10 gigabyte files and your actual render will be slow. As we'll see when we render this, we're going to have enough detail in this that we probably don't need to do that. But you could. So anyway, let's actually talk about what we're here to do, which is we want to render stuff. We want to start setting up for our render anyway. We never want to render our, little helper node here. We want to make some, what I like to call, render nodes themselves. So say render smoke, and that will just be an object merge that grabs, actually I don't know if I made a null over here. I did not. Keep in mind again, the volume visualization node will have no actual bearing on what it actually renders. This is just for the viewport. So we're going to get that node, and there it is. So when we tell the mantra or whatever render you end up using to render nodes, we're going to render this node, not this node. Let's also set up a ground plane, or ground whatever. Ground! Make that green. So I'm going to literally put a grid down. Let's actually get our smoke back. I'm going to say make it wider and make it maybe the same. 50, 50, 50 might be good. It's probably fine. Let's make it into a NURBS so that it's smooth. And I like to just grab this, bring it up. You can see because it's NURBS, it does the bending like so. Looks like we got to go a little bit higher, and it looks like we have to make it a little bit wider. But there you go. So now we have a ground plane and background that we can use. Now we're also going to talk about compositing this lesson. So oftentimes what we do in Apply Houdini is we just kind of render everything at once. In practice, you usually render the elements individually, and sometimes even the elements, as we will do, will break down into the different lighting contributions, as we'll see. So just so you know, we will do our preview rendering with all of this at once, but we will actually, in this lesson, for once, render things out separately, so you can see how to composite them together. So object merge again. Let's go grab our ground plane, like so. Now we have it, like so. And there we go. We got some render nodes. What else we gotta do? We gotta actually make a mantra node. Now this lesson, we're gonna talk about mantra, because that's the time that we're living in. Mantra is still a great renderer. It's not the fastest renderer in the world. Karma is coming, and will be GPU enabled and stuff, and we'll all love that when that is up and running. But right now, it's January in 2020. Mantra still reigns supreme in Houdini anyway. You might use Redshift. That's fine too. I don't know that much about that. Mantra is... The only problem Mantra has is that it's slower. Otherwise, it's superior in pretty much every other way. So if you have the time, you might as well use it. Also, it comes with Houdini, so even more reason to use it. So, Miniature Smoke. So there it is. It still works great. Some initial settings we'll do is we want to have the frame range, obviously be it. The camera is already set up. We want to use physically based rendering, which is just changes how the lighting works just a little bit, mostly under the hood. Let us override the camera resolution to half resolution for now for our tests, just so it doesn't take as long. And I'll say our distant light that we made before, oops, come back. Let's turn it into something a little bit fancier, which will be a sun. A sun is also a distant light, as the sun is very far away, but it will have softer shadows. I'll explain how those lights work in the lighting chapter. But for now, I just want a light that we can demonstrate some of our settings with. So cool. Save that. And the last thing we'll do is let's just see what we have so far. Oh, actually, we didn't tell the Mantra node to use the render nodes. So to delete the star in the candidate objects, we don't want it to render whatever just happens to be on. We want to only render things that have R and DR in the name, which, as you recall, are the two things we just made. So let's see what this looks like. And then in the next chapter, we're going to look at materials to start setting things up so that we can then look at our lights and things. Great.